Hi everyone. So yeah, apologies for the dark lighting. It is like the middle of the day, but it's currently snowing outside. So yeah, I've got like little lights going on here. I haven't filmed one of these in a while, and I'd really like to get back into them for 2023. But I wanted to do a monthly TBR video, so all the books that I'm planning to read for February. So yeah, I've got a little stack here. I want to talk about them and why I want to read them. I also have a few days off of work in February, so I'd love to like squeeze in like 24-hour or a 48-hour romance readathon. So I'll hopefully have one of those up on my channel soon. So yeah, I wanted to read romance because it's February. And some of these books are romance books, but then some of them are also books where romance is a big factor of the plot. They're not necessarily romance books themselves. So yeah, I just thought I'd go through the pile of what I'm planning to read. The first one, I'm actually in the middle of it, so I'll probably carry this on over to February. This is Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the second in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. She also wrote the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. So yeah, the first book, Kingdom of the Wicked, I actually listened to it on Audible during Vampathon. I can link that video here where I read that book. So this I'm listening to as well, and I'm like halfway through. I'm filming this in the middle of January, so I might have this done before February, but we'll see. This is a slow burn fantasy romance. So you have Amelia as the main character. Her sister dies, and it's about her avenging her sister, basically. Trying to find out what happened. She kind of accidentally gets wrapped up with Prince Wrath, who's one of the 7 princes of hell. If you really like kind of fantasy romance, if you like ACOTAR, so yeah, this has like werewolves, it has vampires, it has magic, all the usual stuff that comes with a fantasy book, with a slow burn romance basically between Amelia and Prince Wrath. And I'm really enjoying it so far, really liking it. This is pretty on par with Kingdom of the Wicked, which I gave 3 stars. My one gripe with this is that the plot can be a little bit convoluted. Like, it's kind of hard to kind of keep following all the plot points in it. I like the romance, I like the characters in it, and I am enjoying it. So it's a little bit silly, the plot's a little bit convoluted, but still quite enjoying it. So I'll probably read this going into February. So I picked 4, none of these are new books, these have kind of been on my shelf for a little while, but so I really do want to get to them. So I just picked 4 kind of random romance books that I thought, you know, there's 4 weeks of the month, I might get through 1 a week, we'll see. For a monthly TBR, I usually like to pick about 4 books. The first one I picked is From Blood and Ash, and this is by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This, I believe, actually is more of a fantasy book, with the romance being one of the main plot lines rather than being a romance book. That being said, this won the romance category in, I think it was the 2021 winners for Goodreads, so I think that's why I bought it. Or was it 2020? I think it was 2020 actually. Yeah, I think this was the 2020 romance winner. So I think the main character is called Poppy, and she's kind of revered as like a bit of a holy figure. It's a term called the Maiden, and she has to kind of stay in solidarity in that, and I think it's a romance between her and her guard. So it's, I think the main trope of this is forbidden romance. Okay, his name's Hawk. And yeah, I actually think there's a few books in this series. I think there's like a main trilogy, if I'm not correct. And then there's a few extra books. I don't know if they're prequels or not, but I think there's definitely 4 or 5 books out there of this series. So yeah, I think this would be fun. It's quite chunky, so this might take me a while, but sometimes, you never know with chunky books, sometimes they're quick to get through. Yeah, it's about a 600-page book. So I might try to make a good dent in this in February anyway. Whatever kind of version I bought, it's so heavy. Like, it's a very hefty book. But yeah, I'm excited. I've put this on multiple TBRs before and I've never got to it. So I just want to read it this month. And I think I'm going to prioritize it after Kingdom of the Cursed. But yeah, that's one I really want to get to. Okay, this one, I hate the cover. I really hate the cover. But it's Bridgerton. So the first book is called The Duke and I, and it's by Julia Quinn. So obviously this is a very famous Netflix show. Season 2 is already out. I haven't seen any of them. I haven't seen season 1 or 2. I haven't read any of the books. I'd really like to get into it though. So I thought this would be a fun romance. So I hate that I bought the Netflix tie-in cover. I don't know why I did that, because it's got that ugly Netflix sticker. But you do have the actors who play the characters in the Netflix show. Yeah, and I think if I just want a fun, quick romance, I think this would be fun. And I believe the Bridgerton series, there's 7 or 8 books. Yeah, the main characters are Daphne and Simon. Okay, so Simon is an unmarried duke, and he's on the verge of proposing to his best friend's sister, Daphne. Okay, so it's a plan to keep Simon free from the marriage-minded society mothers. Okay, so it's a bit of a fake dating trope, I think. Oh, and for Daphne, this will attract some worthy suitors now that the Duke has declared her desirable. Okay. Okay, well, I can tell the plot is they fall in love. So yeah, I think, if I'm not correct, I think there's like 7 or 8 books in this series, and I think each is like a different couple each book. And I don't know if they're all brothers, I'm not quite sure, but it's about each of their respective romances. So yeah, this is the first one. I've never read it before. I really want to get to it. I'm so behind. I really want to buy a prettier copy, especially if I like it. I might hate it and then, you know. Yeah, I thought this would be, it's a little 300-page romance book, so I'd say this won't take me long. And I think it would be fun. So yeah, really want to get to that. So the next one I picked up is One Last Stop, and this is by Casey McQuiston. And Casey McQuiston wrote Red, White and Royal Blue, which was very, very popular, I feel like 2 years ago. I've never read that or this, so I have this one, so I thought I'd give it a go. So this is about August, I think is main character, and she's kind of like in New York, she's waiting tables, she's living in crap apartments, she develops this crush on her commute, and the other character is called Jane, and she's actually a time traveler from the 1970s. So I don't know, I heard a lot about this when it came out, seen a lot of people hauling this or like saying that they're going to read it, but I don't think I've actually like heard a review yet. So I'm not quite sure. We shall see though. But yeah, I would say if you liked Red, White and Royal Blue, which I think is being made into a movie, you might like this as well, I would say, because it's the same author. So yeah, if I have time, I get to this. And this one, that I am so excited for this one. I really want to get to The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So I read Circe by Madeline Miller and I really, really liked it. I found it a little bit slow in places, but in general, I really, really liked Circe. And actually, Song of Achilles is obviously a retelling from the Iliad. It's about Achilles and Patroclus. This isn't technically a romance, but I know love is a main plot point of this, so I thought it would be fitting still. Like even the arrow is in the shape of a heart. So yeah, this is more of a Greek retelling than a typical romance book, but still, I really want to get to this. So I'm assuming it's like the Battle of Troy retelling. Yeah, and I even noticed in Circe there was definitely some nuggets from this, like some characters, because obviously it all overlaps. So I've always wanted to get to this, but I haven't yet, and everyone I know says that this is amazing. Everyone loves this. People say they cry reading it. So I'm really, really excited. I'm predicting this is going to be a 5-star read. So yeah, I think the story of this is Prince Patroclus. So he's exiled, I think, to the court of King Peleus. And then Achilles is King Peleus, I think, best warrior. And I think it's them growing up together as friends. Of course, you have then the Battle of Troy, which I feel like it's probably a big part of this book. So yeah, I love Greek mythology, really, really like it. So Madeline Miller's writing is really good. I believe she's writing a Persephone version now. Loved Circe, so I'm excited to get to this one. I hope it makes me cry. I want to, you know, I hope it makes me feel things. And then the last one is Only If I Have Some Time, but it is the next ACOTAR book. So this is A Court of Wings and Ruin, and this is by Sarah J Maas. This is the 3rd book in the series. I won't say too much about the plot because this is the 3rd book, but the original first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, is about Feyre. She accidentally kills a fairy, and she's a human. She's living in human realm. There's a Fey realm, and she's taken to the Fey realm because she kills the fairy, and she has to live in the Spring Court with Tamlin. It's a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling, but the Beauty and the Beast story, I feel, kind of wraps up in the first book. So then the rest of the series is kind of unique. I loved the first book. I thought the second book, I don't know about Maas's writing. I think Maas's writing can be very, very, very silly and melodramatic, but I think because I'm expecting that now, I know what I'm getting myself into. So I think I will enjoy this a lot more than A Court of Mist and Fury maybe. But yeah, it's kind of a high fantasy. There's lots of plot. Again, it's more of a fantasy with the romance being one of the main plot lines in it. Lots of politics, lots of, you know, war and fighting scenes. I think actually Maas does a very good job of portraying trauma very, very well and recovering from trauma. I would say that's one thing she did really well in A Court of Mist and Fury. So I am excited to get to this, but again, another chunky book, but I would really like to get to this in February if I can, if I get through all these books. But some of these are quite short, so hopefully we'll get through some of the chunky ones. So yeah, that's all my books that I hope to get to in February. Yeah, I'll definitely be filming some readathons, so I'm looking forward to that. I'd love to do some reading vlogs as well, so I can get my initial reactions to some of these books as well. So yeah, if you'd like to see those videos, please subscribe. So yeah, I do anything book related on this channel, so reading vlogs, hauls, TBRs, all that good stuff. I'll leave all these books and all my socials linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.